With this shot, South Africa wrote itself into the record books and officially placed Australia into a cricketing crisis.
For us, it's got to be the most incredible season South African cricket has ever had.
The first Test series loss on home soil in 16 years has the skipper looking for answers.
We've probably been in very strong winning positions in both of the Test matches, and when we've needed to put the last couple of nails in the coffin, we haven't been able to do that.
Fans are also losing patience, not used to Australia's recent lack of form.
I've just about had enough. I'm just prepared to go and sit back now and not turn up to the cricket anymore.
Injuries continue to plague the side, with all-rounder Shane Watson added to the list, suffering stress fractures in his back.
I'm not exactly sure the timeline for bowling, but it's going to be probably to be back to full bowling probably 4 to 6 months, I think.
He joins Simons and Brett Lee, who will both undergo surgery.
I managed to get the whole back of the ankle fixed up. There's a bit of a crack in there and a bit of loose bone and floating bone and what have you.
Australia and South Africa will now head to Sydney for the third and final test. Another loss there will see Australia lose its official world ranking as the best test team in the world to South Africa. The pressure now on those who selected the injured and out of form Melbourne side.
I think they should be accountable. There's no doubt about the selectors should be accountable.
New South Wales paceman Doug Bollinger, Victorian all-rounder Andrew McDonald and Tassie's Ben Hilfenhaus have been added to the team for the Sydney Test.
Fans will want to know when you're a saviour, mate.
Geez, I'd like to be. I hope I am. If I happen to play, I'll put 150,000% in.
Opener Matthew Hayden given another lifeline.
Victories means there's a whole generation that's only now getting a taste of what it's like to lose on home soil.
It's a bit disappointing. I would have liked them to be doing better.
At the MCG, there were many with considered opinions on where the Australian side has been going wrong.
They're not strong enough, and they've lost all the good players, and now they're not that good.
A bit of youth in the team. That's all we need.
Other Australian cricket fans were ready for a changing of the guard.
I've grown up watching them be pretty awesome and be sledges and be really cocky, and I think it's nice for them to eat a bit of humble pie every now and again.
That's why we're coming down here, is kind of just to see them glorified and lost.
Yeah.
The Australian side has lost several players of distinction in a short period, effectively levelling the worldwide playing field. So for those who get paid to talk and write about the game, it's an exciting time of evolutionary change.
We saw it in the 60s after Richie Benaud and some of his colleagues finished. We saw it more dramatically after Ian Chappell, Dennis Lilly and Rod Mast finished in the 70s, and we're seeing it again. It's just one of those things, and the Australian people have to lower their expectations.
Now, it's not just going to be one team clearly as world number one, as it's been for so long. You might see the world number one ranking change once or twice every year for the next 3 or 4 years, and in essence, that's good for the game.
Even if it is a dent to the pride. Tamara O'Dine, ABC News, Melbourne.
Records are still being broken in this year's Sydney to Hobart race. Sydney sider John Walker sailed impeccable into Hobart this afternoon to become the oldest skipper to complete the event. The 86-year-old sailed his first Sydney to Hobart.
You never know, but if I'm asked to serve, I would be glad to serve.
Martin Indig, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Today's historic series loss to South Africa marks the end of a golden era of dominance for the Australian cricket team. It comes as pressure mounts on the selectors to introduce new blood to the injured and ageing squad, which has been made vulnerable in the wake of the big-name retirements of Shane Warne, Glenn McGrath, Adam Gilchrist and Justin Langer. As Australia comes to terms with that unfamiliar losing feeling, it's all eyes on the New Year's Test in Sydney, where South Africa will play for the #1 world ranking if they can take the series 3-0. Tracy Hutchison reports.
They called them the modern-day Invincibles, the team that presided over a golden era in Australian cricket. For well over a decade, Australian players dominated world cricket. Put simply, they were unbeatable.
A record-breaking 16 consecutive Test victories with all the silverware and notoriety that went with it. An entire generation of cricket fans had never seen them stumble on home turf.
We're all so used to them winning and dominating, really, on our home soil, so it is a big change.
An uncommon thing for us to lose, like, I don't know. And really never had to deal with that too much in my life anyway.
But this summer, an Australian team without Warne, McGrath, Gilchrist and Langer was exposed by a South African team hungry to take the shine off Australia's cricket crown.
We've suffered some of our worst and heaviest defeats and lowest moments at the hands of Australia for the last 12 years. So, yeah, to come back and to win the series here makes it extra special.
It's been a long time coming. They've had some hard times, but hopefully this is the turning point now.
This is epoch-making for Australia to lose a series in Australia. This is a real poke in the eye for Australian cricket, though, losing on their own home soil. Previously, we would have regarded ourselves as completely unassailable.
With a clock ticking very loudly on Matthew Hayden's career, serious selection questions, and the captain, Ricky Ponting, under unprecedented pressure, suddenly the Invincibles were the hapless Lamentables.
To be 2-0 down, I can't remember the last time this happened, maybe the West Indies 20 years ago. So there's a sense that maybe it's the end of some careers like Matty Hayden and Andrew Simons, and it's the start of new careers happening there in Sydney.
What's happened here is not so much that an era has ended. Eras have ended before. What's happened is that a new era has failed to begin. The new players haven't really made their mark, and the players who you expected to tide Australia over during that transitional period haven't continued to assert themselves, and they have held on for a bit too long.
He's worked that away, this will be it, and that is the first time that South Africa have won a Test series in Australia.
I mean, it's a real honour for us to sit here today knowing that we are the first team in whatever, 16, 17 years to come and be victorious on these shores.
Right at the moment, I think we're still number one. They have to beat us in Sydney to take that mantle from us. So, you know, that's the way that ranking system works. But, you know, I'm pretty sure if you went and knocked on their door next door, they'd be saying that they're the number one team right at the moment.
As the reality of Australia's capitulation to the Proteas was still sinking in, the blame game had already started. Injury clouds, form slumps and indecisive leadership, all under scrutiny. To many, Ricky Ponting has led with the bat, but not with his on-field demeanour, particularly in crucial match-turning moments.
He's used to having great cricketers in his team. He's used to saying, Glenn, we really need a wicket now. Could I have Shane, we need two. And then they would be delivered to him. But he doesn't have great cricketers. He doesn't have great bowlers anyway in his side. And so when he shouldn't display his body language, he shouldn't wear his heart on his sleeve. Other players can do that, the captain can't.
It's a test of his leadership and how much he can improve by how much the team improves under him. So he's a bit like Alan Border probably in the mid-80s, that one, he's got to keep averaging 50 himself, but he's actually going to have to bring through this younger generation as well.
To others, Australia's perceived arrogance translated as an underestimation of their opponents.
I think they just haven't come to terms with the changes in personnel, and they haven't come to terms with the improvement of other countries. Australian cricket has become certainly, if not self-obsessed, at least self-absorbed over the last 10 years. We haven't tended to pay very much attention to other countries because we haven't had to, and we've failed to notice the way in which Indian cricket and South African cricket have improved over the last couple of years.
Well, it's tough, isn't it, that balance of that there's arrogance and you're ungracious in victory, and then all of a sudden we lost the game, lost a test in India, and it's just like, you know, what's going, the empire's dying and all that sort of stuff. Certainly, you can't just shine when everything's going your way. When you are on the decline, you've just got to show respect.
With the baton now firmly passed, the New Year's Test in Sydney will see the arrival of several new faces in the baggy green cap. The biggest surprise being Matthew Hayden, who remains in the squad.
It's important he's given that opportunity because moving forward we'd still like him very much to be part of our plans.
All along, I said I'd give him till Sydney, and if he fails there, the Bicky points are gone. Everything he's done before that, averaging 50 over a long period of time, it gets wiped. And whether you take him to South Africa, and then if he doesn't get runs there, well, there's no Bicky points to go behind there. Because it's a bit of a shame. We actually need his experience at the moment, and we need his runs.
While the Australian team takes stock of this history-making defeat and opposition teams around the world savour the moment, for fans of the game, there was only one way to spin it.
Everyone's got to have a turn. It's good for the national character, you know. You can't be winning all the time. It's good to lose sometimes.
I think it's good, actually. It makes it interesting again.
It's a fantastic thing for world cricket. This is goodbye Australia's world dominance.